Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. As you know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the Great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here all around the globe. So while you're deciding which musical best depicts your life, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
I think it's Into the Woods.
Grease. No, that just depicts other things. So I don't know.
Into the woods, it's time to go. I hate to leave, I have to, though. That means it's time to bring in our musical monkey.
Wow. How can
Some
you do
say
that?
he knows the words to every Village People song. And others say he says whiteboards are remarkable. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Yes, not as remarkable as the musical intro I got tonight, I got to say. That's right up there. And do you want to sing in our guest tonight?
I'll leave that for you. It's your turn.
Okay. Into the woods we go quite safely. Then I have to think of something that rhymes with safely. All right. Hey, Sandra, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And maybe we'll ixnay the song next time. But yeah, I don't know what
Well, sure. As soon as it's your turn, then we stop singing. I see. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no singing happening here. Sorry.
Well, for folks who may not recognize you, it is a return to the podcast for Sandra Riches from AdventureSmart. Welcome back to the show, Sandra.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back. And here's to a more promising new year for everyone.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, and speaking of things that are promising, we're going to promise you a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. Thanks to Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Now, you can stock up on some of your outdoor essentials, your 10 essentials that you should be taking on every hike. But go check out landsharks.ca. They do have whistles, survival blankets, and some other items online for you to make sure that you are good to go. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link over on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Some things never change. That's good.
That's right. Hey, folks, if you want to join in tonight's chat, why don't you use the hashtag SMART in the chat? And of course, you know, it wouldn't be 2021 if we didn't have the after show. If you want to bring something up in the after show, use the hashtag FATAS.
That's right. But first, we have a little bit of news. Let's see. This is from triblive.com. Talks about a new geocaching game on Rachel Carson Trail. It encourages family hikes, don't you know? The story says Brian Vernon needed to get out of the house after working from home for months on end and helping his daughter Lorelei and son Riley learn during the COVID pandemic. I think we can all relate to parts of that. Vernon saw a Facebook post about the Rachel Carson Trail and decided to give it a try in October. It was named after the late marine biologist, author, and conservationist from Springdale, and that trail, well, it's about 45 miles long. It's in western Pennsylvania. Let's just say northwestern Pennsylvania, just because it's Thursday night at 9. Why not? 45 miles is what? 72K, I think, something like that.
Ooh, nice.
Vernon said it's a free activity. You get exercise, and it's been great spending time with my kids and have them be excited about something that I like to do, because that doesn't happen all that often. They discovered clues and trinkets along the trail, and if they find at least 26, I love this, geocachings along the trail and email the clues to the RCTC, they can get a coin.
You know, I read that and I left it in there.
Yeah, I like that. It just shows how experienced and knowledgeable they truly are.
A geocaching.
Yeah, geocaching.
I thought it was geocachelings.
Well,
little ones.
That's the two he's bringing along with him, I think.
Ah,
but
okay.
How many micros like geocachelings?
Could be. Yeah. How many geocachings did you get? Anyway, let's see what else is in there. There says Lorelei had already gotten some of the basics, so I gave her a briefing about how GPS works. And he said, my daughter is very goal-oriented and methodical. She was very into finding the geocache. She was monitoring everything. My son just likes being out and finding sticks. And that pretty much sums up kids right there.
Yeah, exactly, doesn't it?
Yeah. But both of them keyed in on the geocache. The coordinates bring you close, but you have to look for it. We call that geosense. Whenever they saw a rock that was out of place, they got really excited. That'll pass. Just saying. But, bravo while it's happening. Anyway, the family found enough items to get their coin. RCTC member Kathleen Ganster responded to the family's email. And, she said there are so many limited opportunities because of COVID. And one of the things that they're encouraging people to do is get out, hike, and stay physically active. And we all know that geocaching will do that.
Yes.
More clues and items are being placed throughout the trail. Participants only need to find 3 to get a pin, 5 to get a patch, and 10 to get a hat.
Ooh, a hat.
Yeah.
Nice.
No comment on the jacket. But we know that international tracking will stop at the border.
That's right.
Anyway, so
that's only Utah.
Oh, yeah. So if families are looking for something to do with their children during these challenging times, this is an opportunity to do something fun. If you have children or not, maybe just you yourself want to go hiking, you've never been out before, there are places that are very beginner friendly. So go check that out. Northwest Pennsylvania, we assume. It's unclear how long this activity will last, unlike the pandemic, which we think will last far too long. No deadline has been set, although we wish a pandemic deadline would be. There's also a 100-mile quest, which is like, a gajillion kilometers. Hikers are encouraged to hit the trails and go the distance in 1 year.
Ah, there you go.
There's a lot of people that would like me to go 100 miles away in 1 year, but
oh, not any of us. When you were mentioning the thing about if you have kids or not, and I guess I was going to say, I suppose you could always find some. Isn't that what cashlings are? So when you're out on the trail,
it could be, or you could find a youngster on the trail and go hiking with them, and then find out that it's a circular trail. I mean, theoretically speaking.
No. I'm just going to say no.
All bad advice.
Bad advice. No. Yeah.
If you don't know that story, find Land Monkey at an event and ask him about it. Good luck with that.
Yeah. See you next year.
Yeah.
Or hopefully August. Anyways.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any other news?
Well, there is updated news, an updated app from Groundspeak Incorporated, or GCHQ. They updated the Where I Go app for iOS. Now, if you've got an iPhone, go get the new app. It's a new app. It's not a replacement or an update of the existing one. So there was a Where I Go app that, Groundspeak kind of deputized. This one is theirs. They went and made one because the other one hadn't been updated in a while.
Okay, so you can't just update your existing apps.
Right. You have to go download a new app. It is a new separate app, even though it has the same name.
So that's for iOS. Is there one coming out for Android?
We assume.
Palm Pilot?
Palm Pilot, definitely Palm Pilot.
Maybe not.
Windows Phone?
I'm hearing maybe nothing for Android in the future.
BlackBerry?
What?
I'm getting this breaking news right now. Hold on. I'm hearing about nothing on Android.
Okay.
A rip job. All right. I'm not buying an iPhone just for Where I Go. I'll tell you that much.
That's right.
It's really nice. I downloaded it. So you can search by list or by map. Click right there and download the Where I Go. And if you want more details of it, it actually opens up the Geocachinger app. Or the geocaching app.
Right.
Geocacheling app. I don't know which one it is. Cachelinger.
Sounds Norwegian.
Says you can use Geo.
Oh, how about Cash Flinger? If you have cash, fling it now.
That's right.
All
right.
Brian says the CGO guys are rebuilding the Where You Go app for Android. How about that?
Something.
Will it be a native API or a web scraper? That's what I want to know.
Mhm.
Oh,
because I loved the app, but I quit using it because of web scraping and all that.
yeah. Keith says, so happy about the Where I Go app. I couldn't do Where I Goes for a while before that. Yeah, there were some real issues with that old iOS. So anyway, there's a new one.
All right, good job.
Well, good news. Yeah, good news for iPhone
Good
users.
news. I'll tell you what is good news.
What's that?
We have Sandra from AdventureSmart as our guest tonight. So Sandra, welcome back. And for maybe some listeners that haven't listened this year at all. Oh, wait, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's just cover all our bases and give us a quick summary of what AdventureSmart is exactly.
Absolutely. So the whole Coles Notes version is we're here to engage with outdoor enthusiasts, no matter what your age, demographic, what you like to do, if it's geocaching or snowmobiling, cross-country skiing or hiking. We're here to increase your awareness so that we can reduce the number and severity of search and rescue calls right across the country. The program that I manage here in British Columbia, Canada, is BC AdventureSmart, and we're a very active, robust program in the country. It started here in British Columbia, and we do lots of great things for outdoorsy people, which all of us are as well. And hopefully your listeners are tonight too. And it gives everyone a chance to learn a little bit more, become a little bit more aware and informed before they go outdoors. That's the kicker. That's one of the key words, is before they head out there, before they go geocaching, before they go backcountry skiing. No matter what the activity, how long or short, we have a few things to share with you.
Fantastic. We've got a couple of bits of feedback from the live chat already. For Sandra, Chris, are you able to grab any of that?
Love our chat.
Is that too far back? GSM times 2 says it's always nice to see AdventureSmart on the podcast. So a little fan mail for you, Sandra, right out of the gate.
Thank you.
And Gary asked a great question. I think you kind of addressed that, but he said, other than the app itself, is there an equivalent to AdventureSmart BC in Ontario?
So we're just into our 17th year with AdventureSmart in British Columbia, which is really exciting. And based on our provincial success in the first 5 years, the program went national in 2009. So it is managed by the Search and Rescue Volunteers Association of Canada through Public Safety Canada. So it is a federal program, provincial here, financially supported. So there's representation in every province and territory. So my very long answer to your question, which I'm kind of good at, is yes, you do have representation in Ontario. And wherever you go to request any of our programs at adventuresmart.ca, let's say you went to adventuresmart.ca, you went to programs, you went down, you picked the Hug a Tree and Survive program for your kids to go geocaching to learn a little bit more. That request will go to the Ontario coordinator, and Kathy, I know her well, will get back in touch with you, and she's a volunteer, so give her a little bit of grace, and then she can help you out with any requests in Ontario.
It's awesome. Well, and I know, I think Linda's still the coordinator in Manitoba.
Correct.
So
yeah, there's a few of us that keep sticking around.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So before we get into some of our questions for you, I posed a question before we started the show to Sandra, and it's something that came to my mind because of just sort of watching the news and following really the social media for AdventureSmart and the local search and rescue organizations. And it's that we've had a crazy year, but the search and rescue organizations have had a record-breaking year, but not in a good way.
No, going in the wrong direction, so to speak. And there's so much involved in that equation. So yeah, Jay and I, you and I were talking, and it's been kind of a lot in the media here in British Columbia, and I'd say right across the country, really, and around the world, people are getting outdoors. We're encouraged to by our health officials. It's a safer space to be in right now during the pandemic. It's something we've always encouraged here at AdventureSmart, is to get informed and go outdoors. That's a little tagline underneath our logo if you look closely enough. So that's what we encourage and love to see people do as well. There's a few things that you need to do before you go so we can reduce severity and number of calls. And if you think back to summer 2020, which really isn't that long ago, we saw a 30% increase in search and rescue incidents in the province of British Columbia. Let me just give you a few numbers to help you realize how much that means. Nonetheless, it's an increase, which is not what we want. So on an average in British Columbia, there's 1,700 search and rescue incidents in the province of British Columbia. So if you add a 30% increase to that call volume on top of that, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's onerous on the search and rescue volunteers. They are unpaid professionals. Other first responders and agencies that help, if it's ambulance, if it's land managers, park rangers, whoever. Us as educators, we have to pick up our game. So there's a whole ball of wax there. And then as we've come into winter now, and we're still in the pandemic, we're still encouraged to get outdoors. A lot of people are getting out there, which is very cool. There's incidents happening. So there's a little bit of concern within the SAR community. What could happen still here in these months of winter ahead.
Right on. Yeah. So yeah, as you said, we're all itching to get outside. And we are. I mean, my goodness, I really put off going snowshoeing over the Christmas holiday season just because I was looking at the volumes of people out on the trails, and I was like, I can't be a part of that. I'm gonna have to wait and try and get out kind of midweek once things slow down a little bit. But definitely we need to be cognizant of the impact we can be putting on the SAR volunteers, but we also don't want to tell people to not go outside. I guess one of the key pieces of the messaging from AdventureSmart relates to the 3 T's. And we kind of always think about the 3 T's in the sense of the things we do during the summer, but I think they apply to the winter time as well. And maybe it's good to do a quick recap of what those 3 T's are.
They definitely apply 24/7, 12 months a year, no matter the season, the rain, the weather, the day, the group, the activity, they apply. And a refresher for those who have joined us before or brand new, for those who are here that are new, it's the 3 T's are trip planning, training, and taking the essentials. And each one has a little bit of opportunity for you to get better at what you do. And again, that trip planning phase is making that plan at home around your kitchen table with your family and friends or whoever you're going with. Guidebooks are out, the computer's open, the phone's looking up the great things, and you're planning, you're making a plan. Who's coming? Who's capable of coming? Who's physically fit? Who's got the right gear? So the list goes on. And then you need to leave that plan with a trusted emergency contact. And we can talk about our app in a second, but there's many ways to leave an emergency plan with someone. That's easy. So trip planning, make a plan, leave a plan. The second one, training. Make sure you're physically fit. Maybe there's certification necessary. Do you know how to start a fire? Can you make a shelter? Can you hunker down safely till search and rescue reach you? That encompasses a few things. And especially for winter, it does encompass avalanche skills training. And then the last T is taking those essentials, take the essentials. And there's a basic list at adventuresmart.ca, but then you need to add to it season and sport specific. So for winter, of course, avalanche transceiver shovel probe, know how to use it. For my bike trips, which I'm an avid fan of outside of the snow season, lots of mountain biking, I have extra tools and gear for mountain biking. So depending on the season and the sport, the gear is appropriate for that as well. So trip planning, training, and taking the essentials.
All right. Now we talked about the trip plan, and you gave a little bit of a tease about the AdventureSmart app. Do you want to speak to that quickly? And while you're doing that, we've brought up on the screen for those who are joining us live and watching the live, or hey, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, you can put your phone up there and scan that QR code while Sandra tells us why we're doing that.
Yeah, so this is an easy way to get you to one of our resources, and everything's available at adventuresmart.ca on a national level. And then we've tossed in our provincial socials there. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where a lot of things go on. Jay can attest to that. We're busy on our social and lots of fun things happening there too. But if you've got your phone in front of you now, you could take that, put it to camera mode, and just head over to that QR code, and it's going to take you directly to the section of our app where you can download, section of our website where you can download the app, and then you're set to go. It's free. It's awesome. And what this does is it gives you a tool to make that plan and file that trip plan with an emergency trusted contact. So it alleviates you having to think, well, what do I do? What's a plan? What do I put on this plan? Where does it go? If you're not sure what to put down, we've made that easy for you. So everything there in the app helps you make the plan, and it helps you file the plan. And it's easy through an email or a simple text message to emergency trusted contact that's in your phone. It's not coming to me. It's not going to anyone at AdventureSmart. We're not collecting any of that data. That's just a platform for you to leave that with your emergency contact. And then if something does happen, they try to reach you. And if they can't reach you, then they're instructed to phone 911, and it goes to the local police or RCMP in Canada, and then they will task it out to the local search and rescue group. So then it's like being an investigator if you're a search and rescue volunteer, and now you have all these clues. You know what someone looks like, you know where they're going, you know their activity, their ability, they can make a fire, they've got food, you know all these things. And then once you know all these things, you know where they are. As a searcher, it really aids you to find that person faster. So something's still gone on, there's an incident, but if the severity of that incident is less, that's still success.
There you go.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was going to say, for anybody who follows our podcast and watched the Search and Rescue North Shore series, you can visually imagine that whole investigator. Yeah, as Gary says, don't be a storyline on that show.
Yeah,
and you can visually imagine, you can picture now exactly what Sandra was just describing, and how much easier it is for those guys when they have that information.
Yeah. Hey, and Land Monkey, as a show of solidarity, I want you to know I also did not go snowshoeing over the holiday
Thank you.
season.
I appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them why?
No.
Okay. He doesn't have snowshoes?
I've never been snowshoeing in my life, but that's a whole nother topic.
Next year, buddy, we'll fix that.
How about this year?
Well, I can't help you this year.
You don't know that. There's a lot of this year left.
That's true. That's true. Good point.
We have
Don't
a lot
rule
of
it out.
Okay.
We're completely out of last year.
Not
That's
this
right.
season. Yeah, there you go.
This
there you
season,
go.
maybe not, but this year,
Fair
it's
enough.
possible.
Fair enough.
Sandra, in the chat, I tossed in the website. It's adventuresmart.ca. If people are listening live, adventuresmart.ca, you can go there. You can go get all the tools that were just mentioned. Wet Coaster says he will pass along that info to his friends in Ontario. He's going back there next week. And Keats brings up a really good point that, you know, I learned even more so watching the North Shore Search and Rescue, that the North Shore mountains are so accessible. People often forget that those mountains are potentially dangerous if they're not prepared. You know, it's just a quick car ride away, and, you know, well, I'm not going to be gone long. I don't need to take, you know, hiking boots. I'm okay with tennis shoes or cross trainers or flip-flops, right?
Yeah.
So,
hey,
you hit the nail on the head on
Love.
all of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, even Annie Love, the queen of the flip-flops, wears proper hiking gear when she goes out. So there you go.
Good to know. And in
No
the show of
reason for-
solidarity, I did not travel to the North Shore Mountains the entire holiday season.
I was right there
You're
with
batting
you.
100. You're batting 100.
Yeah, yeah.
I can tell you I didn't wear flip-flops out on the trail.
Good job.
I'll tell you I don't own flip-flops, but
Yeah, I don't either. I own thongs because that's what we called them growing up.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my daughter didn't like it when I said I had thong tan lines. That's but,
Yikes. Let's get back on track.
Getting back on track. If I could speak to that point, because it's a really good point, and it's a valid one to make. That last commenter made that point about being so close to the North Shore for those of us who live on the South Coast. And if you head over to our Instagram and scroll down until you see a beautiful aerial picture of Vancouver City in the winter with the North Shore Mountains in the back. It was one of our posts I put up a few weeks ago, and it's about almost like it's the perfect storm. Is this an opportunity for those of us who know what we're doing? We have easy access, we have awesome terrain, we have all this exciting places to play. It's just as accessible for what we like to title them is the unaware. There's a large number of unaware outdoor enthusiasts. They're enthusiastic to get outdoors. They have that enthusiasm, that passion. They've either moved here, they're new Canadians, they're locals, they're their children or their adults, they're enthusiastic to get out there. That easy access is right there. So what it does though, is your commenter was right. It gives people a false sense of security. And that false sense of security really misguides them to thinking how prepared they actually should be. And that's where a lot of those calls happen. And North Shore is the busiest group in the country. And I believe for a fact that's one of the reasons why when things are farther to get to and a little bit more challenging, we actually just automatically think differently. But when you can just leave the house tonight and I can be in the trail with my headlamp in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And well, I know where I'm going, but the unaware aren't as prepared. But that's why we're here. That's why AdventureSmart's available to you.
That's right.
Perfect. Yep.
Well-
And Stephen Hoy from 105 Hikes, previous guest on the show, and someone we're looking forward to having back. He also shares that the roughness of the North Shore trails often surprises people from other regions, and definitely we know,
Yeah.
but it's always good to reiterate.
Absolutely. Hi, Stephen.
Now, Sandra, there are activities that are unique to winter that bring specific dangers that you don't deal with in other seasons. First of one that comes to mind is ice. I mean, we don't deal with ice any other season. So that requires, different things that we should have when we're going out, and be mindful that, ice can be on the trail and it can be treacherous. What should we do about that?
Yeah, and so I may sound like a teacher here, but we're going to go back to that first phase of the 3 T's, and that is making that plan. And that plan consists of checking conditions of wherever we're going, no matter what we're choosing to do. If it's ice fishing, if we're crossing the lake on cross-country skis, snowmobile, if we're hiking along a trail where it's close to some water that might be frozen or not, thickly frozen or not, and depending on where you are in the country, let's think from coast to coast to coast here in Canada. And so it's really important to understand the risks and manage them for you and your group. Maybe there's children involved, maybe there's dogs around. That can also be an issue because no ice surface is without some risk, right? We have to make sure that we become ice aware and that we take all the necessary precautions. And so let's just talk about thickness of ice for a second. And I think I sent a link there if you're able to share, otherwise I can speak to it. So the depth of the ice is something we need to understand what that is. For those of us who spend some time on the ice, if you're ice fishing, you get to know what you need to do, or you can just measure it. And then also areas will put up signs, and we need to respect those if they're dangerous or thin or closures. So 7 centimeters or 3 inches or less, we need to stay off. That's an easy one. 10 centimeters or 4 inches, ice fishing's all right. Walking, cross-country skiing is good to be on there. 12 centimeters or 5 inches, a snowmobile, ATV, that's all right. 20 to 30 centimeters or 8 to 12 inches. We're getting up to a car here or a small pickup. And then 30 to 38 centimeters, 12 to 15 inches. We've got a pickup truck there. But, just stay off. If you're ever concerned or wondering, you're better off to lean on the side of safety. And if you break through, try not to panic. Your clothing will trap some air in and amongst your body, and it will keep you slightly buoyant. So that's a plus. That's on your side. And you want to turn towards the direction that you went in and place your hands and arms flat on that unbroken surface. And the idea is you're trying to lengthen yourself out as much as possible to alleviate that direct pressure down there. And then kick with your feet to try to get the back part of you up so that you can have that momentum moving forward on unbroken surface. And then once you're lying on the ice, lying is the key word, don't stand up. Continue to roll or stay flat as you can, and then move yourself closer to the shoreline. So that's a lot of information, but at adventuresmart.ca, we have under the winter banner, we've got some ice safety tips there that I just recited.
Oh, so good. So
Yes.
good. I've never fallen through ice, more than to knee depth, but even so, it's shockingly cold when you fall through. So you've got to be aware.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably a good opportunity to remind, sorry, Jim, I was going to say, opportunity to remind people that even though this is Sandra from AdventureSmart BC, which is a Canadian national organization, this advice is global. Like anywhere there's winter, this is advice that can be
absolutely applied. Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to be silly and say in a show of solidarity, I did not go out on the ice the entire holiday season. Never mind.
We're noticing a theme here. We're noticing a bit of a theme floating through the show.
Maybe not a good theme. But let's switch topics to another danger that we have heard about, which are tree wells. Well, maybe you haven't heard about them. I don't know that I had, actually. I'm a big fan of Dawn wells, the late Dawn wells, but not tree wells. We're assuming it's not necessarily a hole that you go and get fresh trees. Tell us about tree wells, what they are, and why we should avoid them.
We want to avoid these at all costs. There's no question. So for those of us who've spent time on the ski hill within the controlled recreation area, which was within the ski area boundary, or any time in the backcountry, if those of us who are ski touring, snowmobilers, backcountry skiers, snowshoers, every tree has one of these. It's not where we wish to be. It's not where you want to be. And it's areas that we definitely need to avoid. So sometimes when we're in the outdoors, we'll be in and amongst the trees when we're skiing with our friends or boarding or snowshoeing. We have to be conscious of the base of every tree has this void underneath. And this picture here Jay's put up, it gives a good description. So the tree is angled and it protects the base or the trunk. And it actually creates a void space or very light, airy bits of snow do get in, but it's not compact like the sides of the tree there. So this protects it there. And then if you get close enough to the base of that tree, you're in there like that. And Jay and I were sharing some stories. We both have been in one, unfortunately. And I know when I was a park ranger, I was doing some work on snowshoes and slipped in, got too close, was doing some work, and next thing you know, you're up to your chest or your waist, and it's tricky to get out. So, there's a lot of things to think about. Avoidance is one, there's no question, and it's really important. But how do you protect yourself from these tree wells? You can do your very best to steer clear. Stay away from the bases or the trunk areas. We just had an awesome tree well safety campaign on our socials. If you wanted to find that, it's got some good stuff there too. And then make sure you're always with someone. When I'm heading out there in the forest and doing this, I'm usually with a group, and we're either hooting or hollering, or we all, I know for a fact, have a safety whistle right on the tab of our coats, so that if we do go in, boom, my voice is muffled. I might have snow in my mouth. Maybe my friends didn't see me go in. So this is on there, so it's easily accessible. I'm going to get to it no matter what. And so that's helpful. And here's just a little comic strip we made up a few days ago about, if you head in, these are front country, back country hazards. What do you do? And it's really important to really avoid them at all costs. If you do get caught in one, kind of like the water scenario, try to stay calm, no panic. Maintain your breathing and compose yourself. And turn around slowly so you're facing upward. So if you've gone in head first, your movements are slow and methodical to get yourself up, and maybe you could use some of the branches to guide yourself up. Grab hold of some of those features and make yourself as high as you can. And ideally, you're with your friends, so they will have seen or realized you're missing. You've made key points where you're traveling through these areas to stop and reconvene, so that you don't just kind of fly through and meet at the chair at the bottom. And then where's your buddy? So it's important to really pay attention to each other when you're out there. And again, AdventureSmart.ca, go over the winter section, and then we have tree wells listed right there with some details for you.
Yeah, I'm right up there with some of the comments that said tree wells are terrifying. I have to say that's true. I could make my standard joke now that I avoided tree wells, but I'm not even going to go there because they sound too terrifying for that. Scruffster said, I just learned something. And, well, I did too.
Very good. Very good. And this is one of the many topics that we talk about. We do have some webinars that we offer regularly. I can talk about those later. But, this is a lot of information to share quickly here.
Sure.
Awesome. We get to share the links with everyone, but we do expand on it with our safety webinars too.
We can't have a meeting without telling somebody you're muted.
Yeah, right. I'm going to unmute myself now and try that again. So I was going to say at the tail end of the show, we'll make sure that we share all the contact information again. But another thing that is something to be aware of in the winter, and it's something that I've only recently learned about in the last few years. And unfortunately, I learned about them because of a very tragic event that happened on the North Shore a couple of years ago. But I never know if I'm pronouncing this word properly, but cornices, cornice,
Cornice or cornices.
cornices. Thank you.
Mhm.
So AdventureSmart also recently shared a great Twitter post about cornices. They seem like a very sneaky winter hiking or snowshoeing or skiing or snowboarding danger. But maybe because it's such a weird word and something that a lot of people don't know about, Sandra, if you could explain what they are, I'll bring up another graphic for those who are watching live. But if people are listening,
Yeah.
Sandra, if you could explain what they are and how we can be adventure smart about them.
Yeah, it's, and it's interesting. I guess if you don't spend a lot of time or aren't exposed to, let's say, the backcountry regions in the winter, this wouldn't be a word or know how to say or pronounce or know what it means. So it's this one got posted a few days ago, and it was really exciting for me to see the engagement that we got over this simple image. But it's super clean and simple and effective. Even if you aren't versed in what it is, you can look at this and see the hiker or the snowshoer. You can see that they've come up to this peak or the spire a little bit, and they're out for a snowshoe. And you can see the angle of the slope that's dashed up above the snowshoer's head, and that's where the cornice or the big wind-blown load of snow could break off. So when we're on top of that snow, we don't see that line. That line isn't in the air or isn't in the mountains. Unfortunately, we don't have a beacon or a transceiver to tell us you're going too far. This is either local knowledge. You've done your research. You paid attention to the weather to watch the storm systems come through, and you paid attention to precipitation, amounts, wind load, wind direction. And I love the way you described it, Jay, is they are sneaky. There's no question about it. So this wind direction has actually just blown all this snow over, and it just continues. It builds up like meringue on lemon meringue pie, and it hangs there. And it's only as secure as it can be for so long. And so that image, I think, covers it quite nicely, and it talks about the wind load, and it shows it. Again, adventuresmart.ca, winter cornices. We've got some descriptions there, but the structure is sneaky, and it forms at the edge of the ridge, and it's making it a challenge for any travel below it is a concern. So this comes back to your route finding, your training in your avalanche skills training course, because you're constantly looking for different features. If it's avalanche, signs of, sounds, visuals, cornices, these are all things that you pay attention to. And then how can you protect yourself from this? You want to leave a generous distance. So that snowshoer is way back. It's encouraging to go a little bit further, but if we could keep this image in our head, it can really help you hopefully make better decisions out there with all of the forecasts and the weather as well, and your knowledge of the area. Like if you hike there in the summer or geocache there in the summer and you know where that ledge is, now you can see it's wind loaded with snow and built up. You have a visual based on your experiences from summer. So there's a lot of things that goes into this, and knowing the route that you're heading into and limiting your areas of travel, understanding what's above you. And there's no question, there's sneaky features in the winter, and they can cause havoc. And it then could be triggered by more wind load, a person, a snowmobile, the continuation of that load, and it can release on its own. It can be triggered by another. And so if there's any travel below, that can also trigger an avalanche, let alone just that snow falling. So again, lots of information, but we talk about this in our webinars too.
Yeah, that's a great graphic right there. It really demonstrates visually what your pick is, because it's not something I would have thought about either. I'm not even going to make any jokes about it because the topics here are too serious tonight.
Well, and I was going to say, like, one of the things that I think is great about this graphic, and for those who are listening to the audio version, I'll describe a little bit of what we're seeing here. But It's the fact that if you can kind of picture that meringue as Sandra described it, that whip of
Yeah, I do want
frozen
pie
snow.
now.
You're welcome.
That's a different topic.
But the way that it builds up because of the wind direction pushing it, the tendency as a snowshoer, as a hiker approaching a cornice, is that you kind of want to get up on it because that's where the view is, because the cornice goes up a little bit. So it's like, oh, well, there's the view. I'm almost at the edge. I'll just go up here onto this high part where I can see the view. But at that point, you are standing in the failure zone. And that's the scary part about it, right? And I know a few years back, we had a real tragedy with some snowshoers on the North Shore Mountains because of exactly that. And that's, we'd want to see that be avoided if at all possible.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Absolutely.
If they actually...
and if
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard, right? We can't see them when we're out there if we're on them per se. If we're below them, we can look and see them. I know in some spots where they would build, and that comes from being in the same area over winters. You get that experience, but this speaks to what should we have with us, and it was the last T. And we talked about taking essentials with us and being prepared. So we talk about what should we do when and if something happens, but it's all about the prevention. It's all about being prepared if you did get caught in one. So here comes that avalanche transceiver, shovel, and probe. Everyone in your group is versed and trained in avalanche skills training. Everyone has those units and devices on them. They know how to work them. They know how to search for you. They understand companion rescue. You've all left that trip plan at home. So I'm trying to just describe that the ducks are in order for that what if. So accidents happen. There's no question. 1,700 times a year in BC, they happen. And so if that happens to be with a cornice, with your group in the wintertime, you're on the better side of the coin. If you all have that gear on, you all know how to use it, you all can see each other, you can see something happen, and you can respond effectively. So that's a key component to that as well for that other side of the coin.
Wow. That is really scary to think about because, you just said it, you don't know what you're really walking on, right? You assume as you're going up the mountain, it's all rock underneath you, but it could not be. Wow. Sandra, you mentioned another word that is just as scary to me, and that's avalanche. I understand so very little about them. Are they really something we need to be worried about, when we're out snowshoeing or, skiing, hiking? Is it, the only risk is when you're way up high in the mountains or, maybe heli-skiing?
No, there's the short answer, which I'm not good at. And the long answer is I usually go one way or the other. I go short and then go long, or go long and then give you the short answer. So you got the short answer first, and now here comes the spiel.
You got to change it.
I do. Yeah, I do. I can't be that predictable. So, it goes back to, Chris, being prepared for whatever activity you choose to do. So if you've made that choice, here comes the mom side of me. If you've made that choice to head out there for that snowshoe or that ski or that ATV or that ice fishing or backcountry micro spiking, whatever you love to do, ski touring, you've made that choice then. You've also made that choice to be responsible, to be a responsible traveler. And being a responsible traveler is being prepared for all of that. And what that does is it extends to being really, really considerate and respectful of our search and rescue volunteers, our first responders, our land managers, BC Ambulance, our CMP, the list goes on, because it takes a wealth of people to come and help you and come bring you back home, which your destination is home. So being prepared for these, and yes, avalanches can happen. And if we want to get back here to the North Shore, where it's easily accessible, there's beautiful, awesome terrain, the backside of Mount Seymour, or just the front side of Mount Seymour Provincial Park, Cypress Provincial Park. We've got some amazing routes that take you up to some awesome views, beautiful huts, snowshoeing, backcountry skiing. Are there hazards along the way? Sure, absolutely. Depending on the weather, depending on the day, depending on that wind load, depending on the precipitation that's fallen, which we've had a lot in the last week. I just came down from Whistler. I was there for about a week. Just got home yesterday. Massive storm cycles just went through this region, right? Major rain down here on the coast, big dump of snow up there.
The whole
Things have been
Northwest.
crazy.
Yeah.
The whole Northwest. And I don't know word to use for it. We like to say it's been pretty spicy. It's been pretty spicy out there, and it's has to be on the forefront of everyone who's going out there. And like we said at the beginning, more people are going out there. More people are heading out there. A massive increase in outdoor rec.
So they can happen all over the place, but how can we know if the area we're in has that risk of avalanche?
Excellent question. So you can't just listen to me here and think, okay, great. Every time I go out, I'm going to be freaked out because Sandra said, yeah,
I can say that, hey, in a show of solidarity, Land Monkey, I didn't go into avalanche country, but that's not going to cover it.
You're probably
You're
right.
If you don't go, you don't pose a risk. So yes, that could be a plus. It could be a plus. But there's awesome resources throughout the country here in Canada. So avalanche.ca, can't say enough good things about them. They are our industry affiliates, our friends, our cohorts, our supporters, our partners. They're amazing. So their job in the country is to provide you with that risk assessment. That's their job. So they have awesome resources if you're new to the backcountry or fresh to the backcountry. That's what it says on their website under that banner. If you're not Avy savvy, which is just a short way to say avalanche savvy, they have an awesome new section to their website that's Avy savvy. So if you go into the backcountry during the winter, check it out. It's a great refresher or a good intro. And they give you the forecast. They'll give you that range danger rating at avalanche.ca. So if you go to their website, as soon as you get there, it's going to show you a visual, a map of Canada. We're going to shrink it to BC as an example. We're going to shrink it to the South Coast. We're going to shrink it to the North Shore. And it gives you that rating. And that's easy to read. It gives you basic information, detailed information, hazards, route travel information, suggestions, don't go. It rates it. So if you've taken a course, you'll understand it quite easily. And if you haven't, you can still get the gist of it. But taking that course is a really good idea. Yeah.
So that's fantastic for anybody in Canada. I would imagine for our listeners in the US, there is undoubtedly a similar resource that's going to be available online. I would imagine if you just Google avalanche safety or avalanche predictions or something like that, I'm sure you're going to find whatever the correct source is for your area. But oh, there you go. Thank you very much, MC3 Cats.
Tossed in Washington's Avalanche Center website. That's nwac.us.
Great
Fantastic.
resource, yeah. I, however, am going to go search Avy Savvy because I've never heard that term before.
That's awesome, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's great mnemonic. Yeah. Great memory tool.
Memory device there. Yeah.
That too.
I only think avalanches happen when, the villains are chasing James Bond down the slope. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, you're pretty safe, but that's not true.
No.
So Jim, do you want to, I think we've covered off some of the other questions that we had for Sandra.
Yeah, well, if I'm not showing solidarity with Land Monkey and just staying home during the holiday season, let's say, long shot, but it could happen. I'm going to go out and do some geocaching hikes this winter because I really would like to. I just haven't had the opportunity. Tell us about those winter adventure 3Ts. Are there specific ones for winter adventures?
They are for any season, any adventure. So let's say you do go out this winter and hit the trail somewhere, somehow, and you're all set to go. We need you to trip plan, train, and take essentials. So you're going to make that plan with your family, your friends, your group. There we go. And you're going to really figure out where you're going and what you're doing. The more detail, the better. So it's better for you. The route you're taking, what you're carrying, what your group's capable of, and then leave that information with friends and family. So in Canada, you can use the AdventureSmart app, but any form of trip plan, leaving that with an emergency contact will work. Sticky note on the fridge, note on the kitchen table, trailhead selfie, a text to a friend. These are all still leaving information with someone, but the more information you can leave with someone, the better. Mm-hmm. As long as that someone, that emergency contact, knows that they have a role to play. They have a really important role to play. If you're not back by 5, now it's 6, they go into action and they have to try to ring you. If not, it goes to police. So they do have a role. And then are you trained, which sounds so heavy, but it's not. Are you trained for the activity that you've chosen to do? It could be certification-based mentorship, rescue, physically fit, mentally prepared and stable. And then you take all those essentials with you as a last T and add to it season and sport specific. That's also available at adventuresmart.ca.
That's awesome. So in Canada, you can be as professional and clean and just, organized as you possibly can with your awesome app. And for those of us in the rest of the world, we can just be as redneck as we want, as long as you tell somebody where you're going. That's what's important.
Here's a pen.
Yeah.
And here's some paper. There's your note. And
That's
there's your trip
right up
plan.
my alley
So
right there.
you leave it with someone you love, or you leave it with someone who loves you.
That's,
And then
that's even better, because that's probably a better
then you're
list.
good to go.
Keith threw out some good information specific to geocaching, right? If you can, it's a good idea to let people know what geocaches you're aiming for. The coordinates in those caches might help the SAR crews narrow down an area to search.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Great tip.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of the planning. Let them know where you're going to be. And if you have coordinates, it's all the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we've covered off a lot of information. Sandra, we're so thankful that you can make the time to come here and speak with all of our listeners. And, again, we want to encourage people to get outside, but do those planning activities before you go and leave a trip plan.
Yeah.
So, Sandra, thank you again. We hope that our listeners are all Adventure Smart this winter. We appreciate what you and the team at AdventureSmart do all year round.
Mm-hmm.
And just lastly, if people want to know more about AdventureSmart, the organization, the national and provincial organizations. Oh, sorry.
All choked up.
I know, right? Where can we send them?
That's so nice.
Where can we send them, Sandra?
So nationally, and that gets us to, in British Columbia, to adventuresmart.ca is where we have all of this great information that we've talked about tonight. The app is there. The 3 T's are there. The program, the curriculum is there, because we have programs for you right across the country that we can deliver currently online due to COVID. So that's proving to be very successful for us in British Columbia. And so we've got some awesome webinars, and all of the webinars for British Columbia, but anyone can join us anywhere in the world, really, of course, are listed at our BC Adventure Smart Facebook events page. And all of our socials are at the same. You can see that BC ADV Smart. You'll find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And those webinars are running weekly. So we just did one last night, and I spoke to 200 people, and we shared our snow safety education program for backcountry awareness. So we talked about those cornices, tree wells, and winter safety bits and bobs there. And then in a couple of weeks, we're running our Survive Outside program. We have an outdoor educator volunteer workshop coming up on January 21st. So lots of opportunity for public education, volunteering, and just learning a little bit more about how you can be prepared to help us, help you reduce the number and severity of search and rescue calls right across the country, or anywhere for that matter.
I was going to say, great info. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing those webinars may not be limited to Canada.
Anywhere. Sometimes we throw a little chat there, and we're like, so where's everybody sitting tonight? We've had Spain, we've had Portugal, we've had Africa, it's been pretty exciting to see. So anyone can join us from anywhere. They're free of charge. Registration is required. So just read those details in our events on Facebook, and you're good to go.
Awesome. So while we can't use your app, we could definitely learn from the webinars. And all joking aside, I know we like to have fun on Thursday night, and I've been silly tonight, but backcountry safety is no laughing matter. It's no joke. Be prepared.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Sandra, thank you. You're always a wealth of information every time you come on. So anytime you want to come on and talk about anything new you're doing, anything seasonal you're changing, let us know. You're always welcome.
Definitely.
Thank you. I'll keep you posted. Sounds good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice. And folks, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And patrons, you should have received by now a little Christmas gift sent to you. If not, let me know. And it might come in the next week or so.
Very cool. How thoughtful of you, Chris.
Aw. I'm thankful for all the patrons and for all the listeners. You guys we do the show for you. We don't do it for us.
Absolutely. And it's the point in the show where we take a moment to thank not only Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor, the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They ship orders online daily. But also to thank, as Chris was just saying, all of our Denali level supporters. That's Land Sharks, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly, the geocaching app. And everybody else. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting the podcast, well, we sure appreciate that. We appreciate all the support that we get. And encourage you to go check out that Patreon link on the cachingNW.com, a website.
Like Just Finding Our Way did.
And Acrodoc.
And a Logwork.
Wet Coaster.
Kitty Quest.
The Tick Magnet.
GSM ×2.
Wino Seattle.
MC3 Cats.
Alarobrick.
CRS 98.
LG 9000.
T. Sayer.
Genies.
Kev MacD.
The Seebeck Tribe.
Boomer 365.
Doramore.
My Max.
Broncos fan for life.
I want to know what happened to Chris, but anyway, B Pendragon.
Geo Nav Pros.
Kid Vegas 19.
Green Words.
Antaeus.
The Geo Travelers.
Trexer Zero.
Sprouter.
Subway Mark.
Sorry, it's my turn. You Talks to Rocks, who thanked us for the coin earlier, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Camp Clan.
Kennel Barb.
Fairwood West.
On a Boat.
Donners.
Keats 94.
Billy Robson.
Segehov.
Team Noltex.
And of course, M-Nerve.
Of course, M-Nerve.
Of course, M-Nerve.
Of course.
And thanks to Sandra from AdventureSmart.
Yes.
You're
We
welcome.
really do appreciate having you on. You've got some great information. And if somebody just now found that pin, one more time, where can they get in touch with you and learn more?
AdventureSmart.ca is the website, or BCADV Smart for our BC Adventure Smart socials. And lots of great events. Busy, busy, busy on our socials. And there's a QR code there to download our app. And it's also been linked up here. So yeah, AdventureSmart.ca will reach you to us. And that's a great start.
Great information there. If you're listening to the podcast audio version, park the car, go pull up YouTube, pull up that QR code and scan it. It's a great app. Just park the car first.
Yeah. That would be smart.
Yeah,
being stopped in traffic doesn't count.
No. Stop the car, go in the house.
Look at this. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, Sam. Thank you. Thanks, Sandra. They love you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Best episode of 2021.
So
That's
far,
right.
so good.
Yeah.
Off to an excellent start.
And
folks,
go ahead.
2021, we're going to launch a new segment.
Ooh.
We're calling it At Last.
At last.
The new segment for listeners to learn a little bit about their hosts. The last stands for listeners asked some things. And now we get to answer. So if you would like to ask some things, you can call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback@cachingnw.com. So, lady and gentlemen,
Yes.
what was your first concert? And no, your second cousin's piano recital doesn't count.
What about a piano reticle?
Well, or whatever I typed there. It's a recital, okay?
Or a retickle? I don't know.
It's a retickle. Yes. That's what I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, I think we can let ladies first. Sandra, let you jump in there if you'd like.
Sure. Mine was Annie Lennox at Toronto's Canada's Wonderland. And I remember going, and I wasn't too sure what was going to happen. It's actually stuck with me. It was a really cool, it's an outdoor summer evening. It was very cool. So that was my very first concert. And then I have another favorite first. I haven't been to many concerts, to be honest. Another favorite was when I went with my son. His name's Walker. And he's a big music fan, always has been. But I think he was about, let's say 14, 15, 16, and we went to see the Foo Fighters at Rogers Arena here in Vancouver. It was his first big concert. It was mine, and I just loved it. It was awesome.
Cool.
That is very good. Yeah. Yeah. My son is a huge Foo Fighters fan. He's been to a show or two. And I've seen Annie Lennox when she was with the Eurythmics at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles.
Oh.
So I can kind of resonate with both of those. Great memories. Thanks for
Nice.
sharing.
Nice. Who wants to go next?
Well, I'm yapping. I might as well continue. My first concert was a group I had never heard of. I went because a friend of mine said, "Hey, I got tickets. I'm going to go to see the show. Will you go with me?" I said, "Okay." So my first rock concert ever was a band called UFO. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah, I also went with a friend in high school to see Judas Priest, and I was not and still I'm not a Judas Priest fan. But yeah, I don't know what the first concert that I went to that I chose to go to that I remember, but I do remember going to a John Denver concert I really enjoyed with my girlfriend in high school. So let's say that was
Very
my
cool.
first one. Yeah.
There you go. Chris, how about you?
Well, the first concert I went to that I paid for and did the whole thing. Well, that didn't sound right. I paid for all of them. Was now I suddenly forgot it. Journey opened for Foreigner in Jukebox Hero Tour. So they had the big inflatable jukebox on the stage at the end.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool. As for me, the first concert, I'm going back and trying to remember what the first one. I went to a lot of concerts at a particular stage in my life. Pardon the pun. I feel like the first one I went to, and this is about as Canadian as it gets, would have been Rush.
Oh,
So there you go.
nice.
We got a couple of ones. Starcasher said, not a concert, but I went to see Lily Tomlin live.
Well, that would be fun.
Nice.
You Talks to Rock says Fillmore West, but I can't remember the bands. Jazz, I think.
There you go. Very cool. So this is a new segment we'll be doing this weekly with questions that come in from our listeners. Chris, is that the plan? Okay.
So if you want to ask us a random question, it could be very pointed to what you want to know, but it could just be something fun, like, is a hot dog really a sandwich?
Oh, it's not. No, it's a hot dog. They don't come together. They're two separate great things.
There you go.
See, some people are passionate about these things. Go ahead and call into 253-693-TFTC or feedback@cashingnw.com. Folks, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. We hope you can be part of the show. Again, call into 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us decide which new phone we should get any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a review. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jake Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And there's people in the show notes trying to mess with me. Make sure it was 2021, and now I don't know what it is in the show notes.
It says 2021 right there. I don't know.
It looks like 2021. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah,
there was a question mark when I went to read it. Folks, we hope you stay tuned for
The After Show.
It's a new year, but it's the old after show.
Yes.
Some things never change. But we have a poem to commemorate the end of 2020 and start 2021. Do we not here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have a toast.
A toast. Let's end on a toast, or in this case, begin on a toast. We're going to end the episode of the beginning of the new year anyway, let's end on a toast. We found ourselves stuck at home with nothing much to do. 2020 was a tough year. The happy times were few. We worried for our loved ones. We stayed in separate rooms. We worked at home in sweatpants and learned to meet on Zoom. No dining out, no haircuts, nothing on the silver screen. We wore our masks and hunkered down and wished for a vaccine. We thanked our first responders, a brutal year to cope. At last, we look ahead and fill ourselves with hope. From all of us, we wish you joy, good fortune, and some wealth. Most of all, we wish you peace and COVID-free good health. To better days and back to normal, let us raise a glass. Good riddance, 2020. We did this year with class.
Nicely done.
Toast. I have a glass, but it's empty. I have a can of sparkling water. How about that?
There you go.
Okay.
That works.
Breiling wanted French toast for some reason. Hey, we got
it's the only word I know in French.
we got a Bon Jovi Skid Row in Calgary.
Wow.
Concerts.
That's there you go. Yeah, that's
Garth Brooks,
pretty hard rock.
Garth Brooks, Comadome.
Comadome.
Yeah, he would do a good show.
James Taylor, Woolsey Hall, New Haven, Connecticut, a long time ago.
That's a
James
long
Taylor. Wow.
That's a long way away too. Connecticut.
Santana at a high school dance.
Seriously, that's cool.
That is cool.
Wow. All right.
See, my problem is that for 20 plus years, ooh, Stones would be good. For 20 plus years, I've worked our state fair and worked concerts.
Mhm.
And I've probably seen, no exaggeration, hundreds of concerts now. And I'm kind of jaded that I don't enjoy them as much anymore since there's work involved. But a few have stood out that I have really enjoyed, even working them. Kenny Loggins was really good. Barry Manilow was really good. Wayne Newton put on quite a show. I've loved every Weird Al concert I've ever been to and working or in the audience. And yeah, there's been some really Clint Black. That was another great one. So
there you go.
I've worked some concerts with you there, Wits End, and I have to say the one I was surprised that I liked the most was Kelly Clarkson. She's got an incredible range.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that would have been one of my favorites, but it was.
Yeah.
Let's see. We saw the Stones. Scrufter says my first concert was Mozart.
Oh,
I am very old.
well done. It's comforting to me that when Mozart was my age, he'd been dead for several years. So
That's true. Other people keep setting the bar for you.
that's right.
Keats has no idea who that is.
Sure. Hey, we had some. Oh, okay. Oh, we
Trooper
still have more concerts. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Dave Brubrick was at my wedding.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Glenn
Take five.
Campbell was the opening act.
Oh, was he a Rhinestone Cowboy yet? Or just a Wichita lineman?
Into Celtic colors, some cool folk and Celtic or Celtic. How do you guys pronounce
Celtic.
it?
I say
go-
Celtic.
Celtic.
Unless it's a basketball team,
Well,
and then it's the Celtics
Celtics.
for some reason.
for some
They're
reason.
They're not the Northwest.
Oh, okay. So we have IHAM saying we're still eating our way through the holiday baking, so no #podcast baking tonight.
Yep. Sandra, I'm not sure if podcast baking was a thing the last time you were on the show or not, but it's become a bit of a #podcast baking. People apparently love to bake while watching the podcast. So
That's all right. That's all right. Kill two birds with one stone. That works
Exactly,
out
right?
fine.
Yeah.
A little
Great
snack
idea.
at the end.
Yeah.
That's okay. Nice.
And we thought it was just one person or maybe two. No, it seems to be quite popular. So I'm surprised.
we make people hungry.
It's becoming a trend.
Oh, Keith says a new. Let's see. I got to go find this. You guys want to read that, and I'll see if I can find the.
Sure, go ahead, Jim.
Let me scroll down there. New episode of Keats 94 Geocaching Adventures goes public tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow is a good day. If you like geocaching videos, feel free to subscribe to Keats 94's channel. He puts out a new video every Friday.
Wow, good for you, Keats.
How very cool.
Do you
Now-
slow the internet down when you do it?
That's the goal. So you mentioned that tomorrow's a good day. It's a Good Friday.
It's not Good Friday.
It's not the Good Friday, but it's a Good Friday.
It's a good
Yeah.
Friday. I think all Fridays are a Good Friday.
Anything particularly special going on tomorrow?
It's Lori Cassidy's birthday tomorrow. Or Lori, is that right? Did I get the name right?
Yeah. Who else has a birthday?
Elvis Presley.
Yeah, that's
Yay!
true. Who else?
He's not using it anymore.
He's dead.
He's not using it anymore.
Not at all. No. David Bowie,
Also not using it.
Professor Stephen Hawking.
I don't.
We all struggle.
it.
I'm pretty sure he's still using it.
No, he's not. He's gone.
Is he?
I don't
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh, and my mother's favorite son.
And your mother's favorite son. And our
And her only
favorite
son, but
and our favorite podcaster currently in the lower quadrant of
ooh, really specific qualifications there, Mr. Land Monkey.
That's right.
Oh,
there
Come
you go. So happy birthday tomorrow.
Happy
very
birthday.
thank you much.
All right.
Well, let's see. Scrufter's baking his famous chocolate caramel squares as we speak. And when should we be over? And will there be milk?
Good questions. Good questions.
And remember, what happened? Oh, looks up.
Remember to look up an ad? No. I don't think that's what we're supposed to remember.
Remember that Friday is the last day, or tomorrow is the last day to get the first souvenir.
That's right. So if you
nice.
listen to this next week, too late.
Yeah. Or, even Saturday. I haven't gotten it yet. It completely slipped my mind.
Oh, time to get out and
Because,
what is it that
I
you
got
always
the first one, and then I had all this time. I was like, oh, wait, I completely forgot there's another souvenir for the first of the year. So I'm going out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with the last one. I didn't get the end of the year, but I had to run an errand last weekend, and I made a stop at really nothing fancy to speak of cash, and realized I didn't have a pen with me. So I took the car key and scratched my name onto the paper, but I did leave my mark there.
There you go.
That's right. Wet Coaster wants to what? No glow? Yeah, glows have been coming in slow this year, or at the end of last year. So we decided to give glow a little rest. We'll still do them from time to time, but it may not be a weekly feature or show.
You guys remember all those times that Chris said, "We need your glows. Please send in your glows. We'd love to hear your glows."
I wasn't joking.
Didn't respond. He wasn't kidding.
And now you will all pay.
That's right.
I hope you're happy with yourselves.
You had to just live with a toast poem instead.
That's right.
Well, we have at last now.
We do.
So send in.
At
We really need your questions. Otherwise, I have to come up and ask if different things are sandwiches. Because apparently, in the chat, a hamburger is not a sandwich either.
Well, there you go.
That's right. And if it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey.
That's right. So one of the main contributors for a sandwich is if you could order half of that sandwich and a soup for lunch. You don't order half a hamburger or half a hot dog. Yeah.
So for those listening on audio, first of all, thank you for still listening at this
That's right.
point in the podcast.
Yeah.
And secondly, you won't see what we just chuckled about, which is up on the screen. It popped from Wet Coaster. He says, somebody keeps yelling in my ear that she sent in a glow this week. So,
what's funny is that's exactly right. I think I received 3 glows this week. And I hadn't received anything for almost more than a month, and I was starting to struggle filling out glows. So thank you so much for sending in your glows. Yes, we will get to them.
there you go.
So it's not gone forever.
It's not gone forever, but it's gone for this week. All right.
Oh, Wet Coaster says I needed the latest souvenir to qualify for a challenge cache I signed a while ago.
Wow.
And Lori completely forgot. He's got to go grab hers tomorrow.
There you go.
So Brylang says I better get out there. And folks, just like me, get out there and go caching in the Northwest.